Members of Parliament have a few late nights in their near future. With the spring sitting coming to a close, the Trudeau Liberals still want to get a number of bills passed, and opposition tactics is delaying the government's agenda. To talk about what is happening, we're now joined by the government House Leader Mark Holland. Mr. Holland, nice to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
Listen, we have about 3 weeks left to get a number of bills passed. Why does this happen all the time? Why does the government always seem to face a crunch at this time of year?
Well, it's frustrating. When I had many conversations with the Conservatives, asking them how many speakers they had for different bills, telling them that we had limited time, and when they drag things out throughout the rest of the year and refuse to give us information, effectively making us navigate the parliamentary calendar with a blindfold on, what happens at the end is all of that obstruction and delay and refusal to tell us how much time they need means that we're very pressed at the end. And so as a result, we're sitting every night to midnight. They've also now taken the additional step, even though they only represent about a third of the House of Commons, they're trying to block every other party from working by faking that their voting doesn't work, by pulling out other juvenile tactics like pretending to have points of order that aren't real points of order or points of privilege. So it's frustrating, particularly when the things we're dealing with are so consequential. The budget, the environment, childcare is frustrating.
Okay. I hear your argument there, but are you trying to move too many bills through without proper review? Because Conservatives do admit they're using tactics right now to highlight what they call, and this is their quote, the dangers of your high spending, high inflation, high crime agenda. Are you trying to ram in too much without proper scrutiny?
Well, let's just take a look at some of the things they're opposing. One of the things they're opposing is a price on pollution, and they're making it a condition of stopping their obstruction, even though they themselves ran on putting a price on pollution. So they actually, every single member of Parliament in the House ran on putting a price on pollution.
Under a different leader, though.
Well, still, that's how they were elected. I mean, I don't know, certainly from my perspective, when I run in an election and I make a commitment, it would be a little bit bizarre then to turn around and to not only break the promise, but refuse to support legislation that would keep the promise that I had made. But notwithstanding that, the budget is very, very clear. It provides support, things like the grocery rebate, which actually isn't in the Budget Implementation Act. We're able to deal with that earlier. But other things that are really critically important, like making sure that we have support for students, making sure that we have support for transitioning to the green economy, making sure that we have support for dental care. These are things that are broadly supported. These are things that we've been talking about and debating a very long time. And what I would ask is just look at the speeches the Conservatives are making in the House. They're the exact same speech. They're not offering any new ideas. They're just saying they're opposed. So they're blocking every other party from moving forward when their only thing they're offering is really the same speech again and again and again. If you give us the same speech 36 times or 100 times, it doesn't change the content of what we're dealing with.
Okay, now you did get a time allocation for the budget bill, and just this afternoon you moved for time allocation regarding C-35, the Child Care Act. Is that something we're going to see more of in these final weeks, essentially limiting the time given to any one issue?
Well, I think the problem is we saw on Friday we lost an entire day of business. The Conservatives pretended they had technical problems. They did not. They actually got into the House and told House officers that they were having technical issues when no such problems existed for any other party. It was very self-evident. It was just to sink a day of work. And then they get up on false points of privilege and try to waste a day and block every other party from doing work. So they leave us very little choice. Really what they're saying is, and Mr. Poilievre, the leader of the official opposition, has said this, that they're going to use every tactic they can to block us from moving forward. Well, that is not democracy. There are 3 other recognized parties in the House of Commons. All of them are trying to do the work of the country, and having one party block every other party from doing the business of the country makes no sense, particularly when they're offering no solutions. It's not like they're offering amendments to these bills. It's not like they're saying they want to make changes. They're just saying they oppose them. And they keep giving speeches that are frankly the same speech speeches over and over again. So it doesn't leave us with a lot of choice. I'm reticent to use it. I'm frustrated because in so many instances I've been asking for how many speakers they have, how much time they need, and they've obfuscated, they've refused to give that information. So they are the authors of this circumstance.
Is there any way you could give anything to the Conservative opposition to perhaps get things moving along? Because I'm wondering about the relationship between you and really Mr. Scheer at this point to try to get Parliament working. Because from a Canadian point of view, outside of the political realm, this seems just like a lot of nonsense.
Well, I totally agree. It is a lot of nonsense. And I have said to Mr. Scheer on numerous occasions, let's stop this. There's many off-ramps. We're willing to work collaboratively. If they would tell us how many speakers they have, if they would give us an honest accounting of what their issues are. But if they're just going to be against something, then frankly, we could give them 100 days, 200 days. We could give them 1,000 years, and they're not going to change their position. So, you know, we have to have an honest conversation about what's in front of us. And I have to say that in many other instances, working with Mr. Scheer, he has been reasonable. This has been a disappointing turn of events since Friday, and the Leader of the Official Opposition's declaration that he's going to hijack Parliament and sabotage its processes and misuse procedure to try to block Parliament from doing its work. I hope they step back from that. We're ready to work and we're ready to cooperate.
Okay. Well, I'd give you another 1,000 seconds, but my director and producer would get really upset with me. But so for now, Mark Holland, thank you for this.
Thanks so much.